everybody, welcome back. This is going to be the second video for week 9 material. We are going through a short series where we are taking a look at Create with Code Unit 3, the endless side-scrolling game where you're jumping over obstacles. And we are going to be continuing the work of customizing the experience into our own thing, aside from, changing up all the assets that were provided to us and making sort of our own thing for this whole experience. So we went ahead in the first video, we replaced all of the obstacles with our own custom asset. In this video, I am going to target the background here, and I am going to change that up. So first things first, let's go ahead and actually see where this background is in our project panel here, and I believe it is going to be under Course Library, Source Files, and Textures, and here are the backgrounds that they're using. So very simply, if you wanted to change the background with something else that was provided to you, all you have to do is select the background here in the hierarchy, and we can just change the sprite here from background nature to something else. So let's go ahead and lock the inspector here so it doesn't keep swapping. This is background town, this is background nature, the one's already there, and background city. Let's see background city. What does that look like? Oh, look at that, it looks pretty good. And what does background town look like? Okay, not bad. Let's go ahead and bring one of these images into Photoshop so that way we can inspect what's actually being done here and see how we can recreate it for ourselves. So let's go ahead and just pick one of these. I am going to show and explorer. Let's open up my Photoshop. Let's go ahead and drag this in. Okay. Let's see what this image is all about. We can see, first of all, just by taking a look at it with our eyes, that this image is actually one image duplicated twice. So we have this one image here, this whole piece here, and then it's duplicated exactly again. It's tiled again once to its right or to its left, depending on which direction you were placing this in. Close this. All right, here we go. I went ahead and just dragged and dropped the image into Photoshop. Let's go ahead and go to image. Let's go to image size. Let's see what the actual size of this is. Let's make sure that we are in, not inches, but pixels. Here we go. 11,280 by 1,881. Wow. Nice. Okay. So now that we know the size of the image and the height of the image, we can go ahead and actually make our own image. And there's quite a few ways you can do that. Play to your strengths. If you're more comfortable 3D modeling something and exporting that as an image, do that. If you're more comfortable working with 2D drawing programs and just drawing out your own background, to do that. I'm going to play to my own strengths. I'm going to make a 3D model and export that out as a 2D image. So let's just go into Maya and do that, shall we? In Maya, I'm going to go ahead and just move relatively quickly here. This is going to be a very simple modeling project. We're going to create polygon, plane. Let's scale it up. We don't need the grid anymore. Here, I'm going to change my width and height to 24. There we go. Actually, let's go ahead and bring the scale back down to 1, because I'm just going to change the width and height here anyway. Let's change this to 24. Let's change the subdivision width to 100. Let's make it very, very high poly. We're not going to actually export this out. It's just going to be for an image. So it's okay if this is super high poly. Let's go to top view. Let's get rid of our grid. We actually don't need the grid in any direction here. So let's go ahead and get rid of the grid for everything. Okay. Let's select various faces by going to face select. Let's just select all these. Why not? And next, I am going to select my paint tool right here. I'm going to double click to open up the settings for that. I am going to, instead of having this paint operation be select, I'm going to have it be unselect. And we can make it rough, and we can go ahead and just start unselecting some stuff here, just to make it sort of a rougher, a sort of a rougher selection, so it doesn't seem like I just selected things so unnaturally, or so it doesn't seem like I selected everything in a computer here. I can play with the radius. There we go. That's actually okay for my for my selection here. We can go ahead and select that, and select that, like that, and that should be okay for a rough selection. You'll notice, by the way, I'm not messing at all with the very, very right end or the very, very left end. I want to make sure that whatever I make here, which is going to be a sort of desert environment to match my cactus, I want to make sure that this is tileable. So I want to make sure that I have a nice clean left and right here. So I'm not messing with those at all. All right, so I went ahead and selected all of that. Let's go ahead and go back to regular selection mode. And let's go ahead and actually extrude up a little bit. So edit mesh, extrude, just a smidge. Don't want to go by grid there. And we can kind of push it back a little. Make it sort of a hilly thing for plains, for a desert situation here. Okay. Next, I can deselect everything. I can go ahead and go back to my paint selection here. This time, instead of unselect and go to select, I can just select some little bits and pieces here for mountains. Rising, for sort of parts of the desert where it'll rise a little bit. Let's go ahead and actually unselect those. I want to select a little bit better. Let's make that brush a little bit smaller. That's okay, I think. Go ahead and do something like that. Maybe a little something like this here at the very end. Like that at the very end. Okay. Let's go ahead and raise these up as well. To be sort of little mountains here. Not too big. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and keep raising these mountains a little bit more. So let's go back to our paint selection here, which I'm already in. Just by double-clicking paint selection, I'm going to go ahead and reselect. Let's go ahead and unselect everything. There we go. Now let's go back into paint selection. Let's select face. Let's select faces that I want to raise up. And we'll see what we can make here. I want to raise all that up. So let's go back into here. Let's go ahead and go into our move tool. Let's raise these like this. Let's go ahead and unselect, back up to top view. Good. All right. That is our basic terrain. Hooray for us. Now we're going to go ahead and go into our selection tool. We're going to go ahead and go into soft selection here. We're going to open up the soft select tool and we're going to start playing around. With the tool here. Fall off radius is very strong, so let's go ahead and push that down. Not to that low. How about 2? That's okay. Maybe 2.25? Yeah, that's okay. Let's go ahead and quickly do some little shenanigans here with moving things around to get sort of just so it doesn't look so natural. So unnatural, I should say. So generated in a computer. We can leave it as this for now. Maybe I'll go back and play with it later. But for demonstration purposes, this is fine for a little bit of roughing it up a little bit, you know. Next up, we can go into our mesh tools. We can go into our sculpt tools. We can make sure this is selected first of all. There we go. Mesh tools. What do we have? We have sculpting tools. Let's go ahead and pick out our smooth tool here. This is part of the reason why we have so many faces, so we can actually use the tool here. Let's raise this up a little bit. The brush is gigantic. So let's go ahead and make it much smaller like that. Even smaller like this. And let's go ahead and smooth out anything that we want here. The strength is way too high. Let's go ahead and lower that down to 20, something like that. Let's smooth this out just a smidge. Next, we can actually go ahead and start adding in some color for this whole thing here. So let's go ahead with the selected. We can go ahead and add a material. I'm going to go ahead and just add in a Lambert. So let's go ahead and, where is my Lambert? Should be at the very end. There it is. Let's make this a ramp so we can have a little gradient here. Let's make sure we can actually view the texture. There it is. And let's go ahead and make some color here. So this is going to be a desert environment. So let's say we want it to be... Well, that's looking pretty good already. The end part should be darker and the beginning part should be lighter. So let's make this beginning part a lighter color here. Look at that, looks pretty good. And the background can be darker to give depth. Not too dark, but a little bit dark to provide that illusion of depth there. All right. Let's go ahead and create a light, because this looks all well and good in the default light of Maya, but let's actually create a real light so we can start seeing what this would actually look like. So let's make a directional light. Let's push this up here. Let's make sure we can actually see our lights by selecting all lights. Let's play around with the lighting a little bit. Well, that looks pretty good. It's a desert, so I would expect a more intense light, so let's go to 2 and just keep it doubled for now and just see how that's looking for us. Looking pretty good. Not bad. Alright. Let's next up make a camera for this so we can actually take a picture of this for Photoshop. Let's make a camera. Let's go ahead and adjust our view here. Let's go ahead and go to panels. Let's do our selected camera here. At this point, we can start moving the camera back like this. We can make sure with our camera selected, we go to its settings. We can ensure that we are looking through a orthographic view as opposed to a perspective view. Orthographic views, we can make sure we have orthographic clicked. That way we're not looking at it from a perspective, we're looking at it just directly through the front, through the orthographic sense, so that we can have this be a flat image, just like it is for the other ones in the Unity scene. Let's go to our render settings real quick. Render settings. Want to make sure, oh, didn't want that locked in there. Want to make sure we use the image sizes that were provided to us in Photoshop, which you may recall were, let's go ahead and open up Photoshop and just double check, shall we? Image size by pixels, please. 11,280, but 11,280 is the size for this image tiled once to the right. So let's go ahead and divide this by 2 real quick. 5,640, that's the width that we want, and the height should be the same. So let's go ahead and go back into Maya and change this to custom, and let's make this 5,640 by 1,881. Resolution is 72, just like in the image in Photoshop. Wonderful. And let's see, we don't need this anymore. Let's turn on our resolution gate here so we can actually see where where the image is. So we can actually place this in the render view appropriately, right around there. Makes sense. Next, we need to add a background to this. So selecting our camera, we need to add some sort of a sky here. Otherwise, we're just going to have a black background, which is okay in some cases. But if we were to actually render this out, so let's go ahead and render the current frame here. Actually, I'm in Arnold view, so it's not going to show anything. Let's render settings. Let's make sure that we are in Maya software. There we go. And again, make sure this is correct. It is. Wonderful. Anyway, if we were to render this out, then we would have a situation where the background is black, which in most cases would be okay, especially if you're exporting things that you intend to make as images. But we have to keep in mind the alpha situation here, where if we turn on the alpha for this image, we can see everything in white will be actually displayed in a PNG image, and everything that's in black will just be transparent. So this will just be a image of the desert ground with absolutely nothing in the background. So that is not what we want. We want to make sure we actually have some color back here to represent a sky. So let's go ahead and close out that render. Let's go ahead and lower this a little bit because I noticed that it was a little bit too high in the render before. Next, with our camera selected, we can go ahead and go to environment, which I pointed out before. We can change the image. Specifically, it'd probably be a good idea to have a gradient for the background. So let's go ahead and click on create image here. And then we will go ahead and we can change this type here to a texture. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. And now from here, we can go ahead and select this little box here, and we can add in a ramp for us. So at this point, we can go ahead and add in a simple little ramp for our background here. So a nice blue sky should be okay for our purposes here. And at this point, we can go ahead and render again and take a look and see what this looks like. And we'll give it a second to load up. Where is my background? Why did that not render? Hold on a second. Well, that took a lot longer than I thought it was to solve. Ultimately, I didn't solve the issue of why the image plane wasn't showing up, so I made just a simple polygon plane, and from there I went into Photoshop and used the gradient tool in there to create my sky, and now we actually have a sky that we can use for Maya. Quite frustrating, in all honesty. I was not able to figure out why the ramp situation was not working. I'll have to look into that for another day, but for now, we have a sky. So let's move on and consider what we can do next, which you may recall, previously we created we imported a cactus in the previous video into our Unity project. So I'm thinking that for this video we can go ahead and use that same cactus here and put it into this scene. So I'm going to go ahead and just import that real quick. Let's go ahead and go to import. Let's go to file 4 here. Yes, what will be brought in? There's my cactus. And let's go ahead. We don't need this extra directional light or this ambient light or this camera spin. We just need the cactus here. So I'm going to go ahead and take the cactus. I'm going to go ahead and group it. And we're going to shrink it down a lot. I mean, it'd be kind of interesting we have a gigantic one in the scene, but it makes more sense if we shrink it down and just add a few out in the background here, as so. And that's good enough, I guess, for a brief demonstration there. We've added some cacti. We can also paint in cacti if we wanted to, and if we didn't want to add them in one at a time with our unique version here, we can also just paint them in. If we just select our terrain, we go up to, let's see, I believe we need to be here under rendering. Quick cut, I figured it out. I know where generate is. It is under the modeling menu. Modeling, generate. From here, we can go ahead and go to make paintable. Where is make paintable? Let's go through. Here it is, make paintable. And then we can go ahead and generate again. We can go down to get brush. Somewhere. Here it is, get brush. And from here, we can navigate to track down some cacti. We can either search it up here, or we can just know that we need to go to the, let's see, fun folder here, and we can see that there's some cacti that can be painted in. You can go ahead and hold down the B on our keyboard and the left mouse button on our mouse to increase the brush size, and we can just start adding some cacti. Whoa, those are gigantic. Look at that. Quick cut, I went ahead and opened up the Paint Effects tool, which is also under Generate. It's just right here, the Paint Effects tool, the settings for that. And from there, I'm just going to go ahead and generate again. I'm going to go ahead and pick up some cacti here. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw some in. There's one, there's two. We can add some more there. Not necessarily going for realistic here, just going for something somewhat interesting to look at. Well, regardless, we have a whole bunch of cacti painted in here. We can also go ahead and paint in some other stuff, like, let's see, get brush. Let's see, I believe under Objects Mesh there's, oh, here we go, Stone's Broken. This is what I want to work with next. We can add in some stones here and there for something a little bit more interesting. Yeah, there we go. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at our render here. We can close this up and see what we're working with so far. I'm kind of just littering the scene with a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm just showing you how all the tools work at this point. So let's see. Let's go to panels. We're going to look through my camera. So panels, look through selected. Let's see how this looks. Let's go up to rendering, render, under the current frame. Give that a second to properly load. It's going to be a bit more heavy duty now due to the fact that we have so many assets thrown in there. There we go. A bunch of cacti, a bunch of stone. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Our own individual cacti that we put in the background. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. My plane. Oh, I guess I deleted the plane, but it's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick cut where I will go ahead and have a more completed version of this scene to render out. I'm also going to add back my plane with the gradient that I guess I accidentally deleted when I was adding in my my unique cacti enemy here. So I'll be right back in just a second. Okay, and I'm going to say that I'm happy with this. I mean, obviously I can do more work with it, but for now I'm going to say that this is that this is good enough for what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to file, and I'm going to save the image here. I'm going to put it on my desktop. It's going to save as a PNG. I'm going to call this my background. My background Maya. And next, we are going to go ahead and open up Photoshop. As soon as this is done saving, there we go. So I'll go ahead and crack open Photoshop again. I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. We already know how big the project's going to be based on looking at the old image file. So it's 5640 times 2. We'll go ahead and multiply it again just so I get the right number. It's 11,280. 11,280 by 1881. Create. Thank you very much. We will go ahead and crack open our Maya image that we exported. And we'll place that in there. There we go. It's half the size of the scene. Go ahead and place that at the very end there. Next, we can go ahead and duplicate the layer. So, let's see. Right click, duplicate the layer. Yep, you can just call it a copy. It's fine. We will move the layer right next to it. And there we are. Our own personalized desert landscape for our use. We can, what? What can we do next? We can go up to layer. We can flatten the image, I guess, just to keep it nice and simple. Next, we can export this as a PNG because we're all done. So let's go ahead and go to File, Export. Where is it? There's Export. We can quick export as a PNG. We can place this in our desktop. We'll call this my background complete. And then we'll go ahead and open up Unity. We will go ahead and go into our assets. We will import an asset. We will go ahead and find my background complete. Put that in there. Next, we want to make sure that that this works. So all we have to do now is go up to the background here in the hierarchy. We see the sprite renderer here. We can go ahead and lock it in the inspector just to make sure things don't get away from us. We can go ahead and take my background. We can... Oh, wait, I know exactly what I did wrong. I need to select my image first. I need to go to my texture type and change this to a sprite 2D. There we go. And now I should be able to actually use it. So let's go back to my background. We can go ahead and apply that. Back to my background, and now I should be able to just plug this in, and there is my custom background. We can go ahead and play the game once again. We can see our background working nicely. All right. Real quick, we can also go ahead and reverse engineer this background asset here. We can go ahead and just create our own empty game object. Yeah, we can go ahead and just create our own empty game object here. We can call this new background, this empty game object. So we can call this new background just to follow through with the process of reverse engineering as we've been doing for many, many weeks now. We can add in a transform, which is already there. We can add in the sprite renderer. So we can go and type in sprite renderer. There it is. We can make sure material, sprites default, everything there is fine. We can add in our move left and repeat background scripts. Move left and repeat background scripts. We don't need the old background anymore. We can go ahead and type in this 33.23, 9.5 and 4, 9.5 and 4. We can get rid of the old background. It's gone now. We have this new background that we can add in our own custom background to, and still works. Still scrolls. This has been a brief video on how to edit backgrounds. I used Maya to create my background and rendered it out, but you can use whatever program you want to create whatever kind of background you feel makes the most sense to you. So just a quick video about how you can take more aspects of Unity and more aspects of projects that were provided to you or were tutorialized for you, and customize them to your own thing, which is a very, very useful skill for beginners in the Unity game engine. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you got something out of this. Bye bye.